The Temple of Speed. Welcome along to RPL Monza. It is time for round 4 of the Tier 2 season. You know, in terms of this circuit for RPL, we've had lots of chaos that ends up being surrounded in those chicanes. In the recent times in RPL before the Tier 1 race last week, it's always been turn 1 that gets chaotic. A lot of the drivers missing their braking points and ended up smashing into other cars. It was turn 4 that ended up being the chaotic spot for the Tier 1 race. We'll find out what happens tonight for this event. 27 laps among us, and I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles. Alongside me for tonight's event, I'm not sure if he's here yet, because I just got back. Eoin McMoran, Tier 2 champion from last season, joins me for tonight's event. He's not in here just yet, but I will get him here with that being said. Either way, let's talk about a couple of things for this event while Eoin joins us. Welcome along, Eoin.
Hello.
Hello. So, one thing to ask quickly, since you are technically the tier coordinator here still, is it short qualifying permanently now for Tier 2 or not?
I prefer short qualifying. So yes, because full qualifying, yes, it's cool, but it just takes too long. Um,
Alrighty.
and tier one being full quality is fair enough because it's the best drivers in the league. Um, and it's supposed to be higher, higher quality. Whereas tier two, people aren't as good. Obviously, people who are in the Williams and the Haas and stuff aren't the best drivers, and I think it's unfair to make them have to wait like 40 minutes just to do
Right.
a race.
Well, I can say your audio is included, so I'm happy to
Yes.
hear that. With that being said, we have lots of headlines, lots of things to go over. First, let's see if it's raining in qualifying, because this circuit had rain in Formula Endurance in qualifying, and it's a dry session. It's a dry session, but keep in mind that it seems to rain a lot in Italy as a country for RPL. A lot of rain races in Imola. I think we had one in Italy not too long ago. I want to say we did. I don't think we did, though, now that I look back. But we've had rain here before. Oh, it was Season 9 F1. That's where I'm thinking it was raining. Silly me. Either way, let's go over our headlines, changes, and penalties to be served for tonight's event. There's 8 of you watching. Send it to your friends. Let them know RPL is finally live. I started the stream early tonight, and I'm going to try to get in the habit of doing that more often. So, I'm going to assume everyone's going to be on soft, so I'll take the tire allocation off. With that said, we have Zatsy in the Alpine tonight. He is an Alpine Academy reserve driver now. With that being said, other contract news or Academy news. Due to his season ban, finally, Cryptic has terminated Goggy's contract. His replacement is a driver by the name of Oat. He's going full-time for the Season 12 Tier 2 season for AlphaTauri. He is missing this week, though. Either way, here is some more news for Tier 2. Dylan James, full-time Alfa Romeo driver for Tier 2. He's one of the replacement drivers for one of the guys who left. The other one who left, who is getting replaced, includes Lojovic. Lojovic is going to go full-time for the second time in RPL. He was at Ferrari Academy, I believe, the last time he raced, and the only other time he raced, that was back in France about 2 seasons ago. Also, speaking of somebody returning, we've got GSR Thrasher in here tonight. He is an Alfa Romeo of part of Ferrari Academy. This is the first race that he has done in RPL since Season 12 F2. So, welcome back, Thrasher, and he's back where he was at once as well, Ferrari Academy. We got some Ferrari Academy news as well, with Tadpole and J&T racing at Ferrari full-time for the new season on next game, Season 13 of Tier 2. We got lots of loans and reserves to go over, which we'll go through during the session. There is a potential F2 return hyping up for RPL. A lot of people have to be interested in order for this to happen because one of the reasons F2 shut down was the attendance. A new RPL logo, as you can either see in the Discord or the Xbox profile picture. And one last thing, Rapid Owen joined in late and was put on the lineups late. Therefore, a qualifying ban is at his way. He will start last.
Yeah.
Yes. Ardell. We're on a lap with him now. Oh, and you raced the circuit not too long ago in Tier 1 just last week. 6 days ago. And he's going to come to the first sector. I'm going to give it to you. But a lot of tricky sections at this track for track limits and getting it right.
Yes, very nicely done for the second chicane. A little bit squirrely on the exit, though. You want to try and carry a lot of speed for the Lesmos there. And it's pretty decent. A bit laggy on my part because my internet's probably really bad. But yes, the Ferrari should be pretty hooked through the corners. Scary coming up here. It's going to be an absolute... It's a thrilling section of corners. If you get the setup right, it's so fun to do. But he's had a wee bit of a second guessing himself going into the Scary there. You know, he turned in and stopped and turned in later again. So probably just going to be a slow banker lap for Mr. Ardell here. Then into Parabolica / Albaretta. Very nice. Very nice, calm, cool, calm, collected lap.
Cross the line.
19.2, wow.
That will be our benchmark. That will be the time that everyone is chasing. Ferrari with their home race this weekend for Tier 2. AlphaTauri with their home race this weekend for Tier 2. You've got guys starting laps. Let's head over to the McLaren bunch. Tadpole has just completed a lap. He's the second one. Hunt is the next one. And Hunt may have got a little bit of a slipstream from his teammate here. What'd you say?
Bonky's gonna come across the line to do his lap.
Well. Yeah, fastest. 19.2. And, you know, last season's... not last season. Last time we were here, back in Season 9, the pole time was an 18.7. We're not far off that already. I'm going to go on board with Hunted for Sector 2. I'll go over this part because this second chicane before the Lesmos is very tricky on what curbs you want to take and what curbs you don't want to take. Sometimes you will try to take them and get faster, and sometimes you'll take them and it ends up slowing you down or gets you into the gravel. The two Lesmos there from Hunted wasn't bad at all, but he's got a Mercedes in front of him that he's going to be getting dirty air from. I don't know if this is JTK or Mintoki, but Mintoki is getting her shot in the Mercedes tonight due to Joe Wilson missing, and Hunted's Ascari was absolutely beautiful, Owen.
I've been watching Grandpa there. He backed off in his lap. But yes, here comes Hunted. One of the many protagonists in this potential title fight. We've got, I'd say, about 5 different drivers that could win the championship. Is he going to go to the top? P3.
Well, the times are close thus far. The top 3 separated by just, what is that, 11 hundredths? Crazy stuff right there. JNT Gaming. He's been on podium so far every race this season. And speaking of the championship, like you were saying, second place in the championship. 3 points behind championship leader Grandpa. He closed the gap down after Grandpa retired in last week's race. Red Bull did not have anybody, whether it was their sister team AlphaTauri or their main team, Red Bull, in the points in last week's race at France. So JNT Gaming got some points there from that deal, and now he'll go right behind his teammate. Close. Ferraris at their home event are second and third right now.
I think Grandpa's on another lap, I believe.
I'll watch him then.
Here we go. So he's going across the line. Is it going to be pole position for the time? No.
But this field is so close. Mintoki goes 7th. JTK is right behind her. And in front of that, the top 5. Look at that gap.
It's quite crazy. I mean, I have to say it's been one of the most competitive Tier 2 fields so far in terms of closeness. Obviously, the top, let me see here, the top 5 in the championship are separated by a race win in terms of points after 2 races. Or 3 races, sorry, so not too shabby.
Car off, trying to get out of the way. That was GSR Thrasher and the Alfa Romeo. And Kipu, I was just on board with him. He went wide and he invalidated his lap time. That is due to track limits from Kipu. Unfortunate right there. We've got 2 guys on outlaps who are coming to start laps here soon. While that is happening, we will go over the championship standings. You mentioned them. You reminded me. I forgot to last week. Well, last week wasn't as beneficial to go over them considering we had, just only 2 rounds done. But now we're getting to crunch time in the Tier 2 season where this is the end of the European stretch. We're going to the US stretch next week with Texas, Canada, Mexico. So realistically, this is where you're going to be looking at yourself as an academy, a team, a driver, and wondering, what can I do better? What can I do different? How are we feeling about where we're at right now? Speaking of the championship standings, let's go over them finally. Grandpa has a 3-point lead over J&T. He has a 9-point lead over JTK, and Hunted, the Season 10 champion, is 11 points back. Due to Red Bull's double DNF last week in France, Ferrari take over on top over Red Bull and Mercedes, who are tied for second with a 5-point gap. McLaren is fourth with 19 points back, and Aston is right behind, having points with Mintoki in all 3 races and Wavy for the first time last week. All teams have now scored points due to this, and Alfa Romeo got themselves back on the podium in RPL last week. We're now on board with Zatsi, who got his first pole position in RPL in a Ferrari last season at Austria, and he is just really maximizing the track limits because he almost went out of bounds there at the first Lesmo, and the second Lesmo he took it a little bit more cautious, but realistically for this Alpine driver, he should be at least ahead of Kipu knowing his pace.
Yeah, he should definitely be out qualifying Kipu. Kipu would be on the lower end of pure pace, I would say, in RPL, but he always manages to somehow fluke his way into having a solid race and getting good results because he just keeps the car on the track usually, keeps it consistent. So, but Zatsi, he's the opposite almost. He's quick, but he's well known to being a bit of a bottler as he goes P10.
You know, to be fair to your bottler comment, I will say about Zatsi, to give him some sort of credit, it was until he went up to Tier 1 that he was finishing every Tier 2 race. So he did have some credit there, at least keeping his car in the race with the troubles he was having in terms of getting results when he went up to a better team than Williams. But right now, P10 is really where he should be. And that's good because this Alpine, shown in the Tier 1 race last weekend with Tyler Freeman and Jack Miles, lots of straight line speed and lots of open chances to get good results with that car. Another car that is a part of that same academy that has good straight line speed, not as good as the Alpine though, is McLaren. And we've got Tadpole on a lap. Oh, and I'm going to have you cover this because he actually, I believe, won here in Season 7. Let me just double check that. I know he was on pole for that race. He did win it. He did win it for Red Bull, and he was also the champion that same season.
Yes, he's on the computer, so you can see him there taking a lot more curb into the
very beneficial
Variante Alta, I think it is. I probably butchered it. I don't really care. Into the Lesmos. But right there, not really clinging to the apex as tightly as you'd want to in the second corner. And down to
snap there from Tadpole.
Under the old racetrack. The oval.
Yeah.
And into a Scar. Very, very tame at the moment.
Oh!
Not doing a restart and going flying to the wall.
Almost did that, I thought, for a second. It looked like he was about to, but right now he'd be going P1, Eoin. One falling corner.
And through Parabolic. He's missed the apex. Not an apex in sight there. And shifting as tight as he can to the inside line to minimize the time to the line, and it's provisional roly-poly position.
Tadpole puts on pole. How about that? 19-1. And he has 3 other drivers behind him within a 10th, chasing him at the top of the board. How about his teammate Hunted, who is up a 10th and about to snatch pole position away, but invalidated the lap time. We've also got JTK, who we're going to ride on board with on a lap now. Someone who also clocked in a lap time was Lojovic in his RPL return. He is 13th, just 8 tenths behind Dom. I spoke to Lojovic before this race. He wasn't expecting much, similar to France in his RPL debut 2 seasons ago. He hates both tracks. So, realistically, as long as you can get yourself within striking distance of the points, then that's not too bad, especially considering we have 18 cars tonight. Speaking of some guys on loan or reserving, Red Fire Tiger joined in late. We also have as well, there was one other person I thought there was that, well, Rapid Owen is in the Williams, I should say. He's a part of the Merc Academy. He's a reserve, so there's that to look forward to as well. But yeah, here we go. 3 tenths up from JTK. This should put him within the top 6 area with the lap times. Here comes JTK, last week's winner, across the line. His first win with Mercedes. Follows it up by being 5th place. And this is still a marginally close field once again, as the qualifying session comes to a close here soon, and J&T Gaming is 2 tenths up on the board, about to be 3 here as he exits Ascari. All podiums this season so far, P3, P3, and P2. He now tied Mali last week with that podium for the most podiums in RPL Tier 2 without a race win. He does at least have a pole to his credit, but can he make it number 2 and the first in 7 seasons across the line? Woo! Provisional pole for Ferrari and Monza. Wow. 18-9.
That is the lap I did in Tier 1 in the Aston Martin, so that's pretty good for Tier 2 times. And Ardell, he's on a flyer here as well. His teammate in the Ferrari, he's down on his time by 4 tenths, and he's decided to take an alternate layout there for Ascari called the corner cut layout. And that's invalidated his lap time anyway.
Well, just behind Ardell is Mintoki on track, and this is high hopes for the female driver chasing a good result tonight after she had got called up to the Mercedes. Points in all of the races thus far. Not the best of laps thus far. It's been very scrappy from her, but across the line, she at least improves a little bit, but is 2 tenths off the teammate.
You call it an apex dodger there, because that apex was nowhere near.
No, it's not good.
That was a major case of understeer through that corner there. We're looking to do better next time. His grandpa is 4 tenths on his lap, but he's coming up behind Zotzi on his lap, so I don't know what's going on here. Zotzi, he's 4 tenths up at his lap. This is an absolute zoomer from Zotzi here.
Yeah, fair play. This could get him right ahead of Dom. Let's find out. His grandpa will be chasing Zatzi into the pit lane. Grandpa in the pit lane. Zatzi across the line. Zatzi's P9 ahead of Dom, and this is best of the rest. This is exactly what's expected of him, and we saw this from Williams when he raced for them last season. He had a really great pace and outperformed that car, and does it again for Alpine, at least in terms of pace. We need to see the results, though, in this Alpine.
Mythic retired. Did he just retire in the pits or did he crash?
I think he retired in the pit lane. GSR Thrasher, last of everybody, slightly improved, but he's not having the best
in the pit lane.
Speed. Yeah. I want to go over something while we're waiting for guys to get back to starting laps. Mintoki did get the call up to Mercedes, has scored points in every race, 1 of 4 drivers to do so. You've got Hunted, JTK, and J&T, the only other 3 to do so. But she's the lowest in the championship with that said. And she's had some good pace thus far for Aston, but has not got the results when she really could have got better. We're on board with her now. She is starting another lap. She recharged and went for another one. And realistically, as long as she's within a tenth of her faster teammate JTK, that's the good part for tonight, especially considering she's racing Aston full-time and JTK's in the Merc full-time. But Joe Wilson missing tonight, Mintoki in. Mercedes also have a really good chance as well to steal a lot of points with Mintoki if she can produce the result tonight. 39,000 up in the first sector, still got room to improve. Got a car in front, that's a Haas.
Oh, dear.
That Haas is right on the racing line. That was Logitech.
Logitech, yeah, sorry. Logitech.
Luckily, though, I think Logitech got out of the way at a perfect point slowing down, but Mintoki invalidated out of Lesmos. And that's not good for her.
He did park on the racing line, which is a big no-no. So a penalty could be coming his way.
Who's that? Yeah. Logitech?
Logitech, yeah, he just usually, common courtesy is to get off the racing line. He determined that he was going to decline the offer. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think for him, when he saw that he was in the way, he at least saw Mintoki go to the right, and once he did that, he backed off. So I don't think they'll give it a straight qualifying ban, but I'm sure that'll be decent penalty points toward his way. With that said, Invade is up in the time.
Across the line.
Yeah, we got lots of cars. Hunted backed off, so Hunted is not gonna end up here with what he would have wanted. Bonkers. Third. Tadpole second, and there was an improvement from, I believe, Wavy. 11th place. 35 seconds remaining. Invade's the last one we're watching on a full hot lap. Cross the line. Is this going to be anywhere toward the top 10? No. 12th. But I think those few league races he did prior in the week, won at Monza did help the case. Now we're looking toward our front guys chasing pole position. Tadpole 13,000's down in the first sector. J&T Gaming's about to cross the end of the first sector split. Bonkers is
With an interesting
down.
strategy here.
J&T Gaming's up. J&T Gaming's up by a 10th at Ferrari's home race, and he could be taking pole position. Let's find out
I
if he
have to
does
mention this is a very peculiar and somewhat intelligent strategy here from Hunted. Look at him, he's right behind JNT. JNT, the man on provisional pole, so Hunted, if he can stay with him and benefit from Slipstream, this could be a good lap from Hunted. It could be on the pole position. JCK is done. He's P5 at best.
Well, checkered flag is waving for other drivers too to cross the line. Mintoki was improving. She only improves a place. Just the 1,000th down on Hunted, who's looking to improve. He's up by 3/10. The Haas has crossed the line. Tadpole next. He invalidated. That's it. Bonkers. What does Bonkers do? Let's find out as he's about to cross the line. What can he do? He was on pole last time in Monza. He steals it once again, and J&T Gaming steals it back just for Hunted to go only third in this slipstream. Ardell across the line. That's fourth. J&T Gaming, for the first time in 7 seasons of RPL, is going to go pole position, and it's the third time an American at RPL Tier 2 sees pole position. Scyther did it first in Season 2. J&T Gaming did in Season 5, and he repeats with his first pole position since Season 5, now in Season 12. Ferrari have their cars 1 and 4.
P9 for Grandpa, massive shock. He clearly just didn't put the lap together. He was down at his time. And he's going to be starting behind several cars that he was going to want to be ahead of. Mintoki P8 and Dom with a stellar P7 in the Haas. Qualifying is once again marvelous.
Is that the first time this season that the pole time is not within a 10th?
I don't know. Do you want me to check all the streets?
Under a 10th, excuse me. Not within, under.
I'll do some research, I'll tell you now.
18.6 is pole position. It's, I think, 2/10 slower than the Tier 1 pole time, but it's faster than the last time we were here in Monza back in Season 9.
Crazy pace, is it not? Hold on, let me check that.
For Xbox, it is, considering Cookie was able to take those curbs a lot more. 18.4, I think he had in Tier 1.
That's the same pace as KVS and the Chiller in Tier 1 from JNT.
Yes. Yes. This is not surprising for JNT Gaming. He took
20
a good result,
milliseconds slower than the Chiller.
So, J&T, Bonkers, Hunted, Ardell, the top 4. That's your first 2 rows. The second Ferrari is up there, too. Tadpole, JTK, Dom, Mintoki round out our top 8. And Grandpa is alongside Zatsy on the 5th row. But a big shock from our championship leader being that far back. 9th place. Not good to be in the midfield here at Monza, I'll tell you that right now. Well, really, it's kind of like, you know, maybe Talladega or Daytona for NASCAR with how uncharacteristic, or, well, not uncharacteristic, but uncategorized in terms of places that you can get involved in an accident. We've seen people in this event before, as it is an overcast race, we've seen people in this event before end up being spun from the lead, being spun from the back, being spun from the midfield. So really, trouble can strike anywhere here at Monza. The pit stop loss for tonight's event, 23.5 seconds. ERS gained back in the pit lane, 23%. So that's massive in terms of other tracks that usually be below 20%. Your strategy for tonight will either be soft hard, medium hard, or soft medium. Likely not a 2-stop unless we get a safety car of some sort.
Confirming to you that that is the first time this season that the gap from first to second in qualifying is over a 10th. Last weekend it was 98 milliseconds. The week before it was around 70 something, and then obviously Britain we had that 2 millisecond gap. So,
Alrighty.
First time the qualifying's over a 10th just shows the closeness of the field this season.
Yeah, Tier 2 is insane.
It's stellar that it's a Ferrari on home soil to do it for the first time this season. Nick Jonas leaves.
Well, folks, get in your predictions in chat. What's going to happen in tonight's race? Will a Ferrari take home the victory on home soil? The 5 red lights are coming on now for Monza, the Temple of Speed. We're waiting for the lights to go out, and they're out now. Bonkers excels off the line better than J&T, and he's gonna pull away to take the lead of the race. And now J&T has to settle for 3 wide for second place. It's Ardell on the far inside line, and J&T Gaming's gone too deep. He's gone wide, and he's absolutely had to cut turn 1. He's now gonna settle for the back of the field due to that, and he comes out near plumb last, but side by side for the lead. Hunted and Ardell, they've taken massive advantage. Bonkers had trouble in turn 1 too. He's at the far back, but Ardell goes into the lead and then goes off, and then Hunted from third to first. It's a McLaren 1-2.
Bonky just got involved in a collision with AlphaTauri. What's happening?
Everybody in the top 7 on the opening lap in the opening 2 sectors have gained spots, and Tadpole's using battery, but Grandpa, the big winner, 9th to 4th. And collision! JTK is just absolutely cut in front of Zatsy, and he's having to use the runoff, and he comes back right in front of the Aston.
What's going on? Oh, they're leading.
And now for the lead,
no.
Tadpole is gonna take it. Contact with the 2 teammates. Hunted's off. Hunted from 1st to 4th, and now Ardell will try to take it back. What is happening on the magical, chaotic lap of Monza on the opening lap? Ardell takes it back for lap 2. Grandpa there to challenge.
Can we breathe yet?
I don't think I can. Magical Monza, that's my word that I want to use. Or term right now. This is what it's providing on the opening 2 laps of this event, and Hunted is still not done. And Grandpa sees an opportunity, Tadpole for second on first. He's trying, and Hunted getting all squirrely on the back of Grandpa. I still can't breathe, though, and it's still not done.
Pole setter and the man on P2. The whole front row is down in P14, 17. Disastrous start. The man who started 3rd, Hunted, I believe it was. He was then in the lead, and now he's down the 4th, and now Ardell and Tadpole, 2 cars we didn't think out of their respective teams that would be fighting for the lead, are now in 1st and 2nd, and then the other Red Bull who showed P9 is in P3, so it's a wee bit of an Uno reverse card in the top teams there. The 3 drivers you expected to be fighting at the top after the qualifying session, they've had a stinker.
Bonkers and J&T just gained a spot from where they just were. Bonkers on Thrasher, J&T on Mythic, and a little slide from our race leader Ardell is going to put Tadpole another step closer, and here he goes. Disappointment in the McLaren in the Tier 1 race, battling for a podium. He now takes the lead of the race on lap 3. Bonkers, fastest lap. And now Ardell is going to still have a look for the inside line. Grandpa is there pressurizing him. And can Ardell get the traction at a turn 2 to keep the spot? For now, he can. It's a 4-car race for the lead, but instead of both Ferraris up there, it's both McLarens up there.
I'm just stunned beyond all belief here. The two leaders are on the soft compound tires. The majority of the field is on mediums and hards. So they're the only 2 on these soft tires. They need to pull away, but they can't because of the nature of the Monza circuit. Trying to stay in DRS is the most critical thing to do this track. As soon as you get gapped by the DRS 1 second time. And the leaders of
Ardell!
Up it again. What's happening? I can't even...
How has he made that move at Ascari? He's through into the lead of the race, and the lead of the race is still not calming down. It's now a 5-car train.
20-second discussion on the strategic element of this race because these drivers just can't be bothered about it. They just want to race. Absolutely scintillating.
No one wants to try to pull DRS, and Tadpole has Grandpa right all over his gearbox, and DRS for the 2nd place man, Tadpole, trying to take back the race lead. Here he comes. He does go for it. Down the inside. And he does breeze past. Now Grandpa has to deal with Ardell cutting in front and back off there to not hit him at turn 1 or 2, but then he gets hit from the back from Hunted there. Slight bit of contact. Invade has had a decent start. We've not spoke about him because the leaders have taken over. He took a spot in Kipu, then Kipu took it right back. 6 places for Kipu. How about that start?
He's
Wavy,
Invade just
3 wide for a second. J&T getting both. J&T sliding 2, and he's still through. But not for long. Wavy takes it back. Bonkers in the background, too. He's in the mix. Wavy cuts J&T off. Bonkers got both Williams right there in the process. It is a 7-car train here at the back of the field. Lodjevic's in this mess. Red Fire Tiger is barely off this mess. And it's real banging down the straight. J&T through.
Grandpa looks to be right up the chuff here of Ardell. Ardell falling away a little bit. And Wavy Knife holding up J&T like that was an absolute marvellous display of racecraft. And that's going to hinder J&T now, because look at the gap from Kipu to Zatsi. It's over a second, so J&T needs to get a move on now. Dom is now
Ardell's got
beginning
no
to get
ERS
gaps
here.
as well. And yes, here
Ardell's
comes
got
Grand Poop.
none. And he is side by side with Grandpa, pinching, contact, and a big collision. Ardell, Tadpole, and Bonkers, and Hunted got damage too. Grandpa got a penalty, and Mintoki goes to the podium while that happens with Hunted taking P1.
May have got small damage there. He is absolutely
Monza
punted
turn
into
one
the car.
chaos in RPL has struck again, and Dom, who had a position there, is now having to give them up. Satsi through for P6, Grandpa, the championship leader, down to PA, and if everything were to end right now, it would be either JTK or Hunted taking the championship lead.
This is absolutely mental. Luckily for Tapo and Ardell, it didn't end as poorly as JNT and Bonky's incident did in the first lap. I'm trying to see if any of them got damaged, but Mintoki now, in her first race for Mercedes, is on the back of the lead.
She said Monza's one of her favorite circuits, speaking to me before this race, and now she's getting an opportunity to go for the race lead. Yellow flags, that's Lodjevic, but by the final corner, Mintoki's into the lead, but Hunted's not giving this up. Hunted is side by side still, and which one will have the DRS down to turn 1? We're gonna find out in just moments time. It will be Hunted. Now, Mintoki follows in the slipstream. JTK's got the big advantage to try to pass her teammate. He won't.
Yes, Ardell clearly having some sort of damage from that incident, turn 1.
Oh, J&T's around! He clipped the inside
there.
curb when trying to overtake, and he's hit trouble for the second time today.
Can't give anyone a break. Everyone's getting absolutely destroyed every single lap here. We've only had 6 laps, and the amount of crazy stuff that's happened is just absolutely barbaric. But yes, Ardell into the pit lane to repair wing damage, and one would say he was the causation of that incident. It seemed to be he lost control of his car, and he is
trying to
reaping what he
squeeze
sowed.
Grandpa down, I think, and while squeezing Grandpa down, he expected Grandpa to give more space, therefore they could go 3 wide, and in the process, he tagged both cars, and I thought Tadpole was going to have it saved, but he didn't. Luckily, though, he's only down to 4th instead of worse than that.
Yes, I thought it was going to be a much worse collision for both drivers. Grandpa, I don't know if he's got damage because he's a little bit slow here in the corners. But he's starting to catch up now as Mintoki with the superior ERS package going for the lead.
For the first time in RPL Tier 2, she leads a race. She's out front with her teammate there, trying to challenge Hunted. Can Hunted get back at turn 1? He's trying. Bonkers is also trying on Kipu in the background. We see side by side there, but Hunted has to back off and concede for 2nd place now. You know, Hunted's words in Silverstone being along the lines of the fastest female driver he has seen, and it's showing. And Tadpole is now taking 3rd place.
Oh, no!
JTK and Grandpa are
JTK!
both off.
Oh, no.
JTK, I believe, clipped the dirt and grass over there, and both spun off. Grandpa, an innocent bystander for the 2nd time.
I was
and
running
JTK's
on
got
board.
no front
I will
wing.
tell you exactly what happened. So JTK goes down the inside at Hunted into the chicane, doing a heinous move. I don't know what he was trying to pull off there. He gets slightly half spun there by Hunted, and then it seems that just a bit of a maybe a lag collision, but JTK is then just driving off the corner, and Grandpa doesn't expect him to be going so slowly because he's unaware that JTK's just been involved in an incident. Grandpa seems to try to swerve to the right to overtake JTK, and he clearly underestimated the gap between their cars, and he hits JTK right up the rear right tire. And look at GTK's car. He's going with the 1960 F1 error strategy here. As the VSC
Hunted's
is back in. Hunted tried to get a sneaky pit stop during that VSC. And it's not really pulled off. He's not really pulled it off very
It's
well
similar
because it came him to green straight away.
to Scyther last time in Monza for Tier 1 Season 9 with their event. Scyther tried to pit, and the VSC ended when he went in the pit lane, and I think Hunted had that happen just a little bit later than what Scyther had. It happened while he started to roll into his pit box there. It ended. Well, Kipu, Wavy, and Bonkers are in a nice little battle here for P5, but Bonkers has wasted no time in trying to catch Dom, who's also trying to catch Zatsy for 3rd place in this race. Alpine haven't had a podium in Tier 2 in quite a bit, it feels like. Invade, 3-second time penalty. That's his usual, with picking up a penalty per race in terms of track limits. He's got his first. He's the 3rd driver with a penalty, but I think for Grandpa's sake, innocent bystander in 2 collisions right there. But this time, I think compared to France, Eoin, as JNT gets by red fire, I think he can get it removed. As long as he doesn't pit, though, because I think the pit stops are going to be what costs him here by the 5-second being served, and now Bonkers to run Dom.
What did he? Let me just check. What did he get 5 seconds for? Was that a
I
severe
was gonna
collision?
say, oh, Zatsy pinching Bonkers, sorry. 3 wide here, 3 wide down the main straight. Bonkers through. Dom trying to go through. And now it's back to single file. I was just going to say, it was a 5-second, but I think the tricky thing, as Wavy got Kipu,
I've never seen a 5-second for corner cutting before.
Yeah, it has done that.
That's interesting.
I will say, I think what's going to happen, though, is he's going to get it served in the pit lane, and it's going to screw him over for that, because
yes, I would say so.
If it was a 10, it might have been able to be removed, but I don't think it'll be removed being served in the pit lane like that.
I don't think it'll get removed. But yes, Mintoki's now taking a massive advantage out of the carnage that happened behind her. She's now got an almost 3-second gap. And finally, somewhat calmness on the racetrack as Wavy gets a penalty. But we still have a bit of a DRS queue.
It's first. Yeah, I mean, we still have some sort of chaos, but not as much. Everything seems like it calmed down once that VSC hit. But, man, what a crazy race so far in Monza. You know, we did put a Monza Madness video together for a reason here, and this is exactly why. You could probably put 30 minutes of it together within this whole race thus far. I'm kidding, that's probably about like 6-7 minutes of madness, but yeah. Either way, Mintoki leads, still yet to pit over Hunted's teammate Tadpole. Now, 4th place on the cards. Zatsy is in the slipstream. Closing, but not gonna go for it.
Oh my goodness, Grandpa, double take.
Oh, Rapid Owen defending this. Will he defend it for much longer? Come turn 2, Grandpa has to sit in behind. Little RG Bargy with Grandpa and Invade. Invade gets squeezed to the curb and has to back out. Rapid Owen now using overtake to stay ahead of Grandpa. And the thing I want to mention about that is the ERS difference between Grandpa and Owen. About a 65% difference there. The thing with Owen is, I want to give him some credit here, Owen. Owen, I want to give your other Owen credit.
Yes.
Points so far in the Williams taking advantage of the chaos. Fair play.
Yes, he won't be the first Owen to get points in the Williams. But this one claims he's rapid, and let's see if he can prove his name by holding off Grandpa maybe for a few corners, or is he going to play? He's using his brain. You look at his ERS. He's got 80% ERS. He could have easily defended there. But he's going to try and let the Red Bull try and carry him a little bit here. Grandpa almost flying into the grandstands there with a massive wobble.
Yeah, and, very squirrely.
Zatsy's now still right on the back of Dom. Dom's been gapped now, so the Zatsy and Dom battle this race is going to continue. I think this is the only battle so far this race that's not resulted in a collision of any sort. And here we go. A normal overtake on the racetrack for once.
Yeah.
JNT into the pit lane.
JNT in.
Stop. No, it's his first stop.
No, I think it's the first. I don't think he pitted on the opening lap.
So he's Hunted actually pulled off a strategic masterclass here. He's 22 seconds down on the lead. He did a really early pit stop.
So if things were to cycle out right now, Owen, he would take the lead by 1.5 seconds.
Yes, but then Mintoki would probably, she's on the medium, so she'll probably pit for hard soon. Or she's risking it. Well, she's not overtake, so I think she's going to be pitting this lap or the next lap.
Yeah.
The hard tires,
And
but Hunted's tires will be a lot more worn, so you get a bit slower.
the thing I was going to say about Rapid Eoin is him being behind Grandpa, he can obviously get towed along from that Red Bull. And he also has a lot of battery left in store, so this is really smart. Just depends on what happens once the pit stop cycle does its thing. 2.6 for the race lead, but our net leader, once things do want to cycle out, will be Hunted. That will be by about a 2-second gap right now. Thrasher's just picked up his second time penalty, 6 seconds to his name. We've now got the battles continuing for 4th place. Yes, that is very big though, because
strategy has been broken.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we'll find out with what happens with Grandpa and Hunted, the gap between them. That will be massive to look at later on. Remember that 5-second will be served from Grandpa, so we'll see what happens. Either way, Dom is still in the slipstream of Zatsi, not gonna clear him at all or get alongside, but
I think defending a little bit hard here on Hunted.
Yeah.
Very hard. He's using all the tank air, and he's defending a very aggressive inside line. Hunted's still going to get the inside line for the chicane. Down the inside. Oh, Mittick's going to try hold around the outside. Oh! Small contact. And that's good racing there. Nice aggressive racecraft from the both of them there. And thankfully no one's in the wall.
Right in the limit. That's the way it should be sometimes. Right in the limit. Right on the edge. And just showing what that edge is. Either way, we've got...
Oh no! It was lag. Oh my god, I just had a heart attack.
Who gave you a heart attack?
Wavy Knife just went parading into the exit barrier at Scary, and I thought it was a proper massive collision, but it was lag.
Well, right in front of him, Tadpole is in, and so is Bonkers. Now here comes Kippu. Dom in DRS pursuit of Zatsi. Dom has all the energy charged up there too. That's right in front of Wavy. The one thing I was going to mention is this is exactly where we should be seeing our medium runners pit. The hard runners will stretch it out a little bit past halfway. That's when we'll see Dom, Eoin come in.
Yes, it seems that Hunted has benefited massively off the undercut plus VSC. He's got around a 6-second gap, 7-second gap almost to his teammate behind, but that will probably come drastically down by the end of this race. We've still got 15, 14 laps to go. Mintoki, she's on the medium. She surely will be pitting this lap to counter everyone else who's just tried to undercut her. And then Zatsi, he's still on the mediums. He'll probably pit soon as well. And like you said, Dom and Eoin will need to pit soon on the hards.
With her, sorry, I didn't mean to cut in. I was just going to say with her, she should be coming up behind Hunted, but she will have the pace advantage due to fresher hard tires. So we'll find out how that works.
For this race win.
It's really hers or Hunted's race to lose at this point now. She is staying out. Staying out.
With
but
barely any ERS,
she's using a lot of battery down the straight, so I'm thinking she's going to pit this lap then.
I wonder is Dom and Rapido, when are they going to try and extend to softs? And is that what Wavy and Zatsi and Mintoki are going to try to do? They're going to try to extend the softs.
Oh, Zatsi pitching Wavy! That was close. Invade also gets Eoin.
So the mediums still seem to be quicker than the hards at this point in the race.
Yeah. I'm a little bit surprised by that. The gap with Hunted and Mintoki is 18.8. Once the pit stops cycle out, it might be Tadpole battling Mintoki for this second place spot. J&T, who might not be on the podium for the first time this season, has just overtaken JTK for 13th. Thrasher wanted to have a go back at Redfire, who just overtook him not too long ago, but is not going to. He's yet to pit as well. I think just kind of hoping for a safety car if you're Thrasher or Mythic, realizing you really got no chance for points right now, but could take a gamble here. I don't think that's what Mintoki's waiting for, but we'll find out. She should be coming in this lap. She used a lot down that straight, though, originally on the main one.
She's actually gained DRS again from 40% to 60%, so either she'll pit this lap, surely, and if she doesn't, she is putting this lap. I was going to say, if she doesn't pit this lap, she'll be extending with the sauce, but she's going to have to come in. Dom will take over the lead if he doesn't get overtaken by Zatsi, but I think Zatti's going to...
by the way.
Zatti's staying out as well.
With pitting, she really almost sped right there, and she timed it well. You hear her pit stop going on in the background. In the meantime, Zatsy takes over the lead, and Wavy wants to do so too. He's going to be side by side come turn 1 with the Haas of Dom. Side by side action here out of turn 2. And in the wheel-to-wheel combat, they're drag racing neck and neck for just a split second, while Wavy, I think, turned on his battery for a second and got ahead due to it. So Wavy, with that penalty,
from
is in
Mythic.
second place, and Tadpole is off at turn 1 and ahead of Mythic, but now Mintoki gets ahead. Bonkers gets ahead. What happened there at turn 1 with Tadpole and Mythic, Owen?
I think. Well, I saw it, but yeah, Mythic goes down the inside, trying to defend really hard. Yes, Tadpole gets a fair penalty there. He technically did corner cut and gain a position from it. But yeah, Mythic just went completely deep into the corner and just shoved Tadpole off over the sausage curbs at turn 1 and 2. Tadpole was like, you know what, screw you. I'll just cut the corner and get the position anyway. He takes a 5-second penalty for his troubles. Mythic could receive a penalty for that aggressive driving as well.
Interestingly enough, Mintoki is on soft tires. Mintoki can make the rest of this race on soft tires because soft tires go to 11 to 13 laps before they reach the cliff or puncture stage.
I don't think that's the smartest decision.
Top 3 are in. Top 4 are in.
Fair enough. Hunted
I don't know if it's the smartest decision, but you're going to catch Hunted, but passing is one thing, catching is another. Catching will happen. Passing's going to happen on the main straight for second place on track. Mintoki now has it. Tadpole will protect third place, the podium spot, and maybe try to get that 5-second appealed.
See, these softs will be pretty quick for the first few laps. Then once she gets them worn, they'll be slower than the mediums. But the softs do fall off at around 11 laps, and she pitted with around 13 laps to go, so she's going to have to make a massive gain now while she still can on these soft tires.
The only female RPL winner, Valkyrie F2, right?
I believe so.
All right. Ardell, Kipu, Zatsy. Almost a teammate collision right there, but it's Ferrari versus Alpine for 5th place. Now, J&T Gaming ducking out, and is he going to make an overtake at the Lesmos? No. That would have been very ballsy.
Almost
But
forgot
he
the
backed
Ferraris.
off for that one. Wavy as well in the mix. JTK, Dom, Grandpa in the train. Grandpa got that 5-second removed. Zatsy, his fellow mate, passing teammate Kipu. And that teammate swap results in Zatsy being 6th place now. J&T Gaming has to wait for an overtake to be done here.
Big
And
DRSQ.
Mintoki is already caught by 4 seconds here on Hunted. It was a 5.0 gap. It's almost 4 full seconds. 20.7. Wavy down the inside of Parabolica. Wavy's through up into 8th.
Yeah, these Ferraris on their hard tires are going to be so much slower than the rest of these competitors. Just proven here by Zatsy going for the move on Ardell. He shouldn't be doing this car in this car usually, but the tire strategy is so different. And oh, Wavy nice out there!
Oh no! Big incident at turn 1. Wavy got clocked and almost clocked Zatsy off. Zatsy had to take some runoff. Didn't get a penalty, but gets 5th place. And now J&T, I think, got affected too. Absolute shambles there at turn 1 right there.
For that incident. Let me see if it was. Zatsy got given a collision and a corner cutting warning for Wavy going absolutely flying into him. So he will obviously be very upset about that and wanted to get removed. But yes, look at all these top runners. You've had a disastrous start to the race, pitted really early. The J&T, the Ardell, the JTK, and the Grandpas. They're on the hard tires, whereas all these midfield runners are on softs around them, or mediums. So
Battles galore, 5th on back.
11 laps.
It's still not done. We got to battle 12th place now. Wavy's bumping Rapid Owen along, and now for the race lead, Mintoki trying to reclaim it. Tadpole there to protect, and does Tadpole go for it? Past the main straight, does go for it, and the teammate Hunted, but Mintoki up into the lead of the race, reclaiming P number 1 again. Hunted though, on those 10-lap hards, really losing out here. JTK too, also getting overtaken on the main straight. He's on 10-lap hards as well. It's crazy. I go to the drivers on board for just 1 split second, and that's the time I miss a collision there at turn 1. Usually we're fine being off board and having the broadcast angle, but it didn't work out that time being on board with the drivers. How unfortunate.
I think this is a very poor decision from Hunted to put under that VSC at the start of the race, and
Yeah.
obviously
It worked out
Ardle
to
and
give him track
JNT and
position,
Grandpa,
but now
they
he's
pitted
lost it.
early. And JTK, they all pitted early, but that wasn't through any fault of them. Well, it was through probably their fault, but they had to pit early because they were involved in collisions. And you can see Zatsy's almost gapped Ardle here in an Alpine, which is unheard of. But because of these differences in tyres, Zatsy's on 2-lap old softs and on 12-lap old hards. And Zatsy gets
Oh,
a penalty. Obviously,
that
one of
Fire
those
Tiger just
wardens
had a
could
little
still get
X spike there
removed.
too. I just saw that at the end. Well, battery between
Here comes
first and
Bonky.
second, 38 and 36. Tadpole around the outside at the braking zone. He's gonna go for it still, and he takes the top spot while Bonkers goes in way too deep. Tadpole, what an overtake for the lead. Hunted got Bonkers as Bonkers went way too deep, and now Hunted chases after Mintoki for his second place now, and Tadpole can protect from the lead.
That was a scintillating move from Tadpole. Dom is fighting with Grandpa and Kipu and JTK in the lower point scoring positions here.
8th place, up for grabs. Grandpa going for it. Grandpa still going for it. Drag race neck and neck to turn 4. Grandpa sliding ahead.
He's forcing his way through there, Grandpa. Good move.
I think having Tadpole in the lead, though, is very smart here if you're McLaren, because you're going to make Mintoki use up all her tire wear here on the softs, while Hunted can at least save a little bit in the hards, even though he's going to be burning tire wear. Bonkers went off there at the exit of Ascari, luckily came back on.
I think this is good teamwork here from the two McLarens. Tadpole's obviously got that 5-second penalty. I'm going to check what it was for again. I think it was for, yes, the corner cutting incident with Mythic. He could claim to get it removed, but the point stands he still did take the position illegally, and Mintoki through.
Retaking the lead. Yellow flags, that's for Wavy. Wavy's had an off there to Scary, and that's at a very weird place.
He's just lost at mid-corner, it seems.
Kipu on Grandpa. Kipu's closing in. Grandpa's closing in on the car in front of him. About to be 3 wide for a second, but Grandpa covers it off. And Hunted has had an issue there because Mintoki, I guess, caught them up a little bit and snagged them even closer. Bonkers and Hunted were side by side. And then after that, Hunted picked up a 3-second time penalty.
I was going to comment earlier in the race, as Wavy is retired in the pit lane. I was going to comment earlier in the race how it's how happy I am to see Hunted without a penalty, and he goes and gets one anyway. So if you can just learn to stay between the white lines, you can actually win a few races this season. But he's just such a silly goose.
Well, I will be saying right now that he is going to be gaining a lot of points on Grandpa nonetheless. Zatsy overtaken by both Ferraris right there. J&T Gaming has a really big chance here, if any safety car comes out, to claim the podium place. But Zatsy's not done with both Ferraris here. He's going to try to pass Ardell. And now for the lead, Tadpole is retaking the top spot. And does Bonkers try to make Mintoki go from first to third? He does, down the inside. And Mintoki, first to third right there. Bonkers, our net leader.
Oh no,
Ardell is in. Happened there?
Ardell in the pits. Why is he in the pits? Well, see how worn those tires? 15-lap worn tires. Fair enough. Maybe he believes that he wasn't going to make it to the end of the race. Okay.
Well, just a little recap for those of you guys. Tomorrow we go to F1 in Singapore. Formula Endurance is in France on Sunday. And next week for Tier 2 we're in Texas, for those of you curious. Either way, 13-second gap between Hunted and Zatsy. It's a race between Bonkers and Mintoki for the race victory when it comes to penalties. Mintoki's never had an RPL podium, but this is only, I believe, her 5th start. No, her 6th start. She did Imola, Vegas, and the 3 races so far this season. But now for the lead, Bonkers wants it. Tadpole has it. J&T Gaming through for 5th place. He's not done with that fighting spirit to try to get this podium place at least on penalties if a safety car does come out. But Bonkers slipstreaming behind Tadpole and now going for it. Regaining the top spot. Does Mintoki go for turn 1 too? No. She has to sit in behind and wait once again. You got the 2 PC drivers versus the 2 Xbox drivers, while the 2 McLarens versus the Mercedes and Red Bull. And Tadpole, mistake there at the exit of turn 1, or turn 2, Mintoki through. And now Tadpole trying to go for it still with another attack.
Screen freeze there.
Grandpa! Collided with J&T at turn 1! And he almost came out right in the path of JTK, so Grandpa has had a collision for the 3rd time today.
I think Tadpole had a screen freeze there out of the exit at turn 2. That constant opposition of Mintoki. Mintoki, oh my god, this lag needs to stop. I just saw Bonky go completely sideways. Maybe it wasn't lag. Maybe it actually did go sideways, did he? He did.
Yeah, 3 tenths the gap now, maybe. Maybe
yeah,
the lag made it
Mintoki,
look
she's got the
worse.
most ERS in this top 4 battle for the lead. So she needs to conserve it here. And she can. This should be an easy win for Mintoki. She's got the soft tires on here. Just look after them for a bit. They're going to probably die off really soon, but she just needs to look after them. Use her ERS to her advantage. This is why, if she was on the mediums, she would definitely have this win in the bag. But these softs being on her car are really, I don't know if she can do it, but here she comes anyway. She's going to go for it. She's not going to be patient.
At 23 out of 27, she's the race leader. Bonkers defending from Tadpole still. Oh, yeah. Contact, bump. Grandpa out. Grandpa's crashed. Safety car.
Crashed at the last corner. Interesting.
Late race safety car, and Grandpa, the championship leader for the 2nd week running, is out.
It's a very peculiar place to lose the car.
Oh, collision under the safety car.
What have you done?
Kippu was trying to avoid J&T and hit the barrier. Luckily, no damage. There's 3 cars already pitting, and you could tell this is going to bring everybody in. I think you have to come in here if you are anybody without a penalty.
Tadpole has gone off. What?
That's the 2nd car under the safety car. It's the 2nd Alpine Academy car. He's facing the wrong way, and he has to get going before Zatsi gets by him. Tadpole, luckily, will keep the top 4 spot. What has happened?
I'm so confused. I was on board with him and Hunted, and I thought Tadpole was going to give him the position because he was going really wide, and I was going to say, no, Tadpole, that's illegal. You can't do that. He just goes flying off the track.
What has happened under the safety car? Oh my god.
Someone shoot. Is this like Cars 2, where people are just shooting people's cars? What's happening?
We could make a Monza Madness video based on how this race has went so far.
Just this one race. You can make a whole video on.
Well, April Fool's Day was 4 days ago. It's a little late now. The top 3 are in, and I'd expect Tadpole to do the same. The only guy who really should be staying out here is really Ardell. He pitted 2 laps before the safety car, and he's going to have the most tire wear out of anybody who could stay out. I do see some people staying out. Zatsi does. Zatsi gambles.
Hold on.
Kippu in. JTK in. I mean, they have to pit. They ended up battling big time. And also to factor things in too, you got to remember, Kippu spun under the safety car too, so you can't stay out like that.
I believe I've just had an epiphany. I believe Tadpole might have drove himself off track on purpose
For the double stack.
Allow Hunted to do his pit stop first, because Tadpole, he has the 5-second penalty, remember? So he was on track ahead of Hunted. So it was a strategic idea from Tadpole to do that, I believe, so that his teammate didn't get hindered. And they are in a party together.
Ardell,
so
out of the pit lane, has just got a drive-through for speeding, and he cut turn 2. So, more trouble to a big-name driver. But the thing with Tadpole that I was mentioning, I will tell you right now, Owen, I suggested Cookie and Reese did that last week in Tier 1 in order to get them double points. Luckily, in the stewards room, Reese still kept his point streak going. But I said, Reese, if you, in my opinion, I DM'd him. I said, I know it caused a lot of controversy, but I think this is what you should have done in order to get Cookie the first choice. And Hunted already was going to have the first choice, but you're going to have a double stack. You were going to have a 5-second penalty to be served as well with that to make matters worse. So, yeah, I guess this is what has been done tactically from the McLarens, maybe. And
if someone cares enough, they could probably report it, but I don't care enough.
I don't see anything wrong with that, but I can see why it can be a dangerous maneuver spinning on on track on purpose. I could see
No, he
that.
didn't spin. He just drove off to the gravel. So
That's still a dangerous maneuver if you're doing it on purpose, though. You know,
and it does
under the
say in the
safety car
rule book
conditions.
that if you do that, it's a 5-second penalty for both drivers.
But how would you
So-
know it's on purpose, though? You know, unless there's party
That's
audio.
why let me see. I'm gonna just check something here. Is Tadpole streaming? He usually streams his races.
Yes, he does. He does
So I
stream
could
his
just
races. You're
I
right.
could run on board with the stream and go back and watch it actually.
By the way, some guys at the back are going to have really big chances for points once they capture to the safety car. Lodgvik and Mythic. Kipu also outside the points. Everybody in front of those guys that are in points positions do have penalties, so they will take full advantage. Also, GSR Thrasher, 6 seconds, now 9 seconds under the safety car. He's on mediums. He's one of 2 drivers on mediums here. Everybody else in the softs, 1 or 2 lap softs. Zatsy staying out, though. Try to chance this. He has a 3-second time penalty. And Alpine won a race here before in Tier 2. Or, sorry, Tier 1. Lewis Piper. One thing I want to mention about Mintoki that I want to mention is she mentions about having a lot of pace, just not as much racecraft, and saying from
He's the only one to
her
not
and I's
crash today.
conversations. What?
He's the one who hasn't had a collision today.
Yeah, exactly. No collision today. No issue of any sort. The previous races, even in Britain, she started off with an issue. And the other 2 races, France, she had a self-spin. And Austria, she had some issues there as well. Invalidated the lap time in qualifying and had an issue in the race there as well. So she said prior to this weekend's race, talking to me, Monza's her favorite track. Or one of her favorite tracks, and glad that someone believes in her, because no one's really believed in her before, and now she's en route to take a win on penalties. Safety
2
car in,
racing laps.
2-lap shootout, and
I'm standing up. I'm so excited.
I know, I'm about to too. We've got 2 laps to decide this, and Zatsy is going extremely slow to back up the field here, but
Hopefully
he is at
Thrasher
least
can
above
catch.
the safety car speed. Thrasher will catch up at least. 2-lap shootout.
Oh,
Who's
he's
going to win
dummy.
Monza? He did pull a dummy, but now he's going for it. Pedal to the metal. Safety car restart underway, and Bonkers is going for it. Drag race to turn 1, side by side for the net race lead. Bonkers squeezing Mintoki around the outside, but she'll have the advantage when Zatsy breaks for turn 1. Side by side for turn 2. Both McLarens in the background. Dom up there too. Bonkers excelling. Bonkers takes the net lead and is looking to eye up win number 6 in Tier 2. It's still not done. He's got to get by Zatsy here with the 3-second time penalty. How does he buy his time getting through Zatsy? Zatsy's still leading. Zatsy protecting. He goes defensive. And now Bonkers around the outside. They touch. Mintoki having the inside line to go through. But Zatsy covers her off. A little bit of contact.
Zatsy is fighting for the
further
win here. He
back.
can get that penalty removed. So he is fighting
Oh,
for
it's
this
a
win.
massive kerfuffle for third. Hunted Dom, Tadpole, Janty, Bonkers.
Oh my goodness!
Bonkers has been caught up massively due to Zatsy defending like a madman. Dom has been put back and Tadpole on the net podium.
1 lap to go!
1 lap to go in Monza. In just a moment, the only other female podium sitter in RPL comes with Valkyrie 2 seasons ago. And now it's an absolute kerfuffle for the top 5. Bonkers back to third. Tadpole here. Mintoki trying to take the lead.
Goodness!
On the last lap, here she comes around the outside.
Oh,
Bonkers sends it. Late lunge. Contact. Massive contact. Zatsy still keeping the lead.
If he doesn't get penalised for defending antics, this could be a win for Zatsy because that penalty
Bonkers to the grass. Mintoki there as well. Both McLarens trying to find a way through. Zatsy
Oh, he's got
way
deep.
too deep. Goes off. Hits Bonkers. Mintoki has a chance now to go to the inside and she can't. Hunted there to challenge Tadpole 2.
Zatsy will not be winning the race after that. Who's going to win it? It's going to be Poki or Mintoki.
Oh!
Contact.
No DRS for the final couple of corners, but who's going to take this win?
Oh,
27
no!
laps have come down to this. It is absolute chaos in Monza, and Bonkers is leading with just a couple corners to go.
Oh,
Can
my
Mintoki charge to get the win? It would be our
He's gonna
first
go for
podium.
it!
Side by side! Bonkers too deep and will hold on though by breaking late. Bonkers late race safety car win number 6 in RPL Tier 2. And Tadpole hangs on to the podium. Lojovic P5 in his second start. Mythic points. What has just happened for Bonkers to take a 6th Tier 2 win? And it comes in Monza. Mintoki, the second female on the RPL Tier 2 podium. And it is Tadpole getting redemption for what happened in McLaren Tier 1. Lojovic, in his second RPL start, is in the points and was second to last just before the safety car restart.
I can't speak.
I can't keep myself contained right now.
I'm so glad I stood up for that, because otherwise I think I would have fell backwards on my chair. But Bonky wins after interesting antics from Zazzi. He caught the chicane, so he would have had to give the position up by the rulebook anyway. So, I mean, this whole result could change in the steerage room, but oh my goodness,
I'm sure it will.
Me. Oh my goodness,
there's your podium.
Me.
There's your podium, folks. Lojovic, with 3 stops, had trouble early on. And gets P5 for Haas, a second top 5 finish another week in a row. And Mythic, who's not even seen more than 2 points the last 23 weeks of RPL, is in P6. There's your results.
Mental.
This is
Mythic
your
could receive
results.
a penalty for his tadpole antic, but I'm begging Tadpole doesn't send it in just for the culture.
Mintoki gets Mercedes, their second podium with a female. Their first came with Valkyrie in Spain 2 seasons ago. It's her first as well for herself. 72nd different podium sitter in Tier 2. Here's another look at your results. The only drivers we lost from that race were Grandpa and Wavy, and that's what made it a crazy ending.
Well, JNT is taking the lead of the driver standings 100% here, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
Bonkers.
Grandpa's had an absolute disastrous race again.
Just to put this into perspective for Bonkers, you know, I'm going to tell you right now, assuming he continues to drive really great throughout the rest of the season, he's putting himself in a good position for the Drivers' Championship. He's really not had a proper chance, except for Season 9 and Tier 2, at a Drivers' Championship, and he's got the most wins now of anybody without a title in Tier 2.
I can't believe it.
Tadpole takes his 15th Tier 2 podium. Bonkers takes his 15th. That's tied 5th in the all-time podium list. We keep the record going of a new podium sitter in each season of Tier 2 RPL, I believe, with Mintoki's podium. A 72nd different Tier 2 podium sitter. First for her nation in RPL. I lost it. What a mental ending. I couldn't keep myself composed. I knew it was going to get crazy, and it did. And I don't
might
know
have been
how,
the most crazy race I've commentated on.
I think for Tier 2's sakes, I think it's the craziest race we've had since Austria about 2 seasons ago.
Yes. But that was
about as close as
2
you can get.
cars battling every lap. This track had like the whole field battling everywhere. It was just unbelievable. We had about 5 laps.
Special antics of turn 1. I think I have seen it all.
Yeah, Wavy Knife trying to copy Beatnik's Monza masterclass of cutting the first corner and T-boning someone.
I'll tell you right now, Zazzi did a really great job defending until he got to turn 4 right there on the last lap. I will say that right now.
Poor form
he did a really good job of defending.
Could have won
the
race.
Keeping elbows out, I know. And then he made a mistake, and that's where he lost it. But Bonkers as well. He fell back to 7th on the penultimate lap right there. Look at that kerfuffle we had. That
I didn't see what happened
to
cause Lojovic and Mythic to get up there. I think Ardell had a major incident that cost him.
I know. I don't know fully what happened back there. We'll have to check the driver's
point
point of views. Yeah, that was insane. Red Fire got a point in the end, but
He did indeed.
I would have expected Red Fire to be higher up. I think Red Fire had a 3-second tie penalty though, so
He
even
did,
still
yeah.
with having a penalty and being in the points, still impressive, I guess, after the way that ended,
Dom
considering how
finished a
far
lap
back that
down.
AlphaTauri driver was. A lot of things happened that race. Wow. I'm on the edge right
It's
there. About,
physically
well, you know
sweating
what?
right now.
It's races like this that are going to create the championship to be looked at and say, I could have won it back then. Oh, I could have had that back then. You know, or that was the one that got away. It's kind of what it's going to be.
I think a lot
However,
of drivers are going to look at this race and be like, at the end of the season, be like, oh, this is where it all went wrong. I think
yeah,
Grandpa, especially, everyone was like, oh, your Grandpa's going to run away with this after the first two races.
that's what I said.
Next two races, doesn't finish, disaster. He's now probably like third or fourth in the championship.
It's how quick things can change.
Bonky was stinking up because he missed one race and then he had a disaster in France. And he wins a race. Now he's back in
Well,
it. So
look at how far off Lajovic was in qualifying too. He was 1.4 off, and he was also 8 tenths off of his teammate there in qualifying, and he ended up salvaging a top 5 result with having no penalties at a track he despises. Mythic too. Mythic, I spoke to him before during the week, and he said, "Just racing for the fun of it now. I'm not even trying
he got
anymore."
P6.
P6, P6, and he could be getting a penalty. Who knows for the
I
hunted
hope he
thing,
doesn't,
right? I
just for
think
the culture. That'd
it
be so funny.
was it was on the edge, but it depends on if someone is soft enough to report that. We'll find out, you know. And
Oh my
someone else who could have
goodness.
took advantage being so slow and off the pace today, but had penalties to spare was GSR Thrasher. Thrasher as well was right caught up, helped do the safety car, didn't take anything from it because he had 9 seconds of penalties. You know, a lot of guys are gonna say with results like today, what could have been, and for some it was what was because of good results. So, you know, even teams in the back of the constructors, Williams have 1 points finished this season, I'm pretty sure, prior to today. We have Haas, who had Dom in the points. A lot of
Hmm.
teams will be taking advantage throughout the whole season and getting better results in the constructors because of races like this. We'll find out next week, though, in Texas, what happens for Tier 2. Either way, make sure you tune into the action for tomorrow's event for Tier 1 in Singapore. The Tier 1 championship can be won in Portugal the week after next week. So we'll find out what Cookie does to get himself one step slower,
That's
one step
early.
closer in Tier 1. Yeah, one step slower for the whole field to catch up, but one step closer to the championship. You know, we'll find out what happens here tomorrow in Singapore for Tier 1, folks. Make sure you tune into the stream. RPL Formula 1, our YouTube channel as well, the same name. Either way, Ryan Searles, Eoin McMoran signing off for tonight's event. Hope you enjoy and catch us for the next time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, he says. I say goodbye too.